think I've logged in. Yeah. Oh, I'm on camera for this. Okay. Is that usually that is usually how things go? Okay. I see there's some prompts here. Oh, okay. I've got cameras to watch. I see, and some stuff to say to this camera. Okay. Hello. My name's my name. Oh, put my name in here. Okay. Hi, I'm Jeremy. Welcome to Wander's Haven. We are exploring the Hawthorne effect. Kind of a weird intro. Anyway, I'm new here as a security officer, and I guess I'm going to be recording what these cameras are showing me. This is kind of strange. I guess I'm supposed to give you a little bit of history about the Hawthorne effect as a study. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see. So this is a psychological term. It's coined in the 50s, but based on findings from a study that was like 3 decades before that. Apparently they were studying the effects of lighting in places to see how that lighting affected workers and if they were more or less effective. The Hawthorne Western Electric Plant. Okay, not really sure what that has to do with my job here. Okay, good to know. Apparently people try to appear more productive when they know a manager's watching. I see. Is that what this camera is? That is what this camera is for. Okay, good to know. I guess I'll jump into this. All right, so apparently this will play out in 3 phases. Okay. This game, by the way, I'm supposed to say is created by an innocent goblin. Is that a thing? Okay. And it's going to be on Kickstarter soon. Okay, I know what Kickstarter is. Yeah, I can do that. So this game is going to be in 3 phases. The first one is going to kind of create the situation. We're going to determine our subject and the scenario that they're in. Yeah, we can do that. I see there's people doing things on the camera right now. That's pretty easy. Phase 2, I'm going to pull on that now. Oh, sorry, I missed a part here in phase 1. The type is very small. You should really increase that or some. Oh, just read this? Okay, I'm sorry. As I observe, I can also interact, look for more knowledge. I can work against the subjects or help them. That seems invasive. I guess we'll see. Are you going to stand here the whole time? You were until I'm ready to go. Okay. So phase 2, I'm going to pull on the knowledge I gained in phase 1 to determine what the conspiracy is. Oh, because these people are doing things that they're not supposed to do? Is that what's going? Okay. In phase 3, I'm going to take an active part in the success or downfall of their conspiracy. Do I report it to the Institute? You're standing here. Why wouldn't I report it to you? Weird. Okay. Oh, you're gonna go get a coffee? Okay. Enjoy. Okay, now that he's gone. So, hi, I'm Jeremy. This is my channel. This whole game here has been developed by InnocentGoblin, who's in the chat. Welcome, thank you so much. And we're going to be exploring it before it goes on Kickstarter here in the near future, which you can follow the link in chat to go follow. I highly recommend you do so. This game uses not only a D20, but also a deck of tarot cards, which I have chosen to use this one I rolled randomly to determine which of my tarot cards I was going to be using. This is the Tarot of the Divine by, oh, this is too small for my silly eyes to read right now. It's a very beautiful deck, though. I love it. Anyway. Okay. So, while that guy is not watching, why don't we jump into this? Because having him stand here was really creepy. So I'm going to start off and just kind of explain the layout. We have set up our tarot deck in its various suits, as well as removing the major arcana from the minor arcana, and it is its own deck. They're all face up right now just so you could see that, but I am going to shuffle them and put them face down. In the meantime, how is everyone doing today? Thanks for tuning in. I hope you are having fun. I hope you enjoyed my silly little intro there. Because why not be silly when you have the chance, right? And each suit of the cards here represents a different mood that I will be in as the viewer, and so that will determine which I'm going to be pulling when I need to draw cards. There will also be the creation of a conspiracy deck, which is essentially a discard pile from what I've pulled on, and as that grows, so does the chance of being discovered that I'm watching, the people that I'm watching. It kind of changes the outcome. Thanks, Stacy. I've definitely worked some jobs where people just kind of stand there and look over your shoulder while you're trying to work. It's so weird. Trying to line these up as best I can. It's terrible. Those are all crooked. I play super confused really well. It's kind of my natural state of being, so that's fair. Sorry, sorry, InnocentGoblin, for maybe confusing you in the process as well. I think that one might be the straightest of all of them. Perfect. All right, so let's jump in. Pardon me. So I know the text is a little tiny there. I tried to make it large enough for you to be able to read as I go through. If it does end up being too small on the screen, let me know. I will bump it up some more. So all you need to play this is obviously the rules, a place to write and jot down my findings, the tarot deck, as I said, split into major and minor arcana, and then into their respective suits, and a d20. I'm using my giant d20 here so that you can see the outcome on... Oh, that's okay. That's just, that's today's date, which is under subject 1, not involved with this at all. Excuse me. So as I observe my subjects, I'll be writing down each piece of information that I get with each morsel of information, and with each morsel of information... Apparently I need more coffee today. So with the information, I am to create what I'm seeing, or be creative with what I'm seeing. So a lot of this is using your imagination, being... making up it as you go. And I will caveat that these rules are playtest rules. There are going to be more additions as InnocentGoblin finishes up the writing and design for it. There are going to be archetypes for the different cards that you pull, as opposed to, I'll kind of read off as I pull the cards what information is included currently. Oh, well, thank you for putting that link in there, Stacy. That is awesome. I definitely appreciate it. Especially for using my affiliate link. Thanks. Sorry, I'm going to mute myself for just a moment because my throat is being super funky. All right, try this again. So let's start with phase 1. So I'm sitting here and I'm looking at this camera and I'm seeing somebody doing something, and I've got to figure out what who this person is essentially to begin with, and then what kind of scenario that they have found themselves in or placed themselves in. So we are going to draw from the Major Arcana deck and take note of what the card is and whether the card is upright or reversed. And then we're going to check the subject creator table and kind of get an idea for who the subject is. Then, once we've noticed everything, we're going to shuffle the card back into the Major Arcana deck, because in the future, down the road, as we watch, we may see this same person come back again and again, depending on how the cards are drawn. So let's pull our first card. We got the Hermit. Hermit is not reversed, but upright is the word I'm looking for. The Hermit means isolation, contemplation, wisdom, and solitude. Interesting. So we've got this older fellow. He's... Let's do this. Subject 1. Older fellow. Long white beard. Balding. Thick black glasses. Let's see what kind of situation he is in. Sorry, my throat is being super problematic. I might have to go get a lozenge. So now that I've got a subject, it's time to discover what they're doing and what's worth for my observation. So drawing from the Minor Arcana, I should be... Okay, so each deck represents a different emotional or mental state, drawing from the deck that best reflects my character at the point in my journey that will help shape the growing conspiracy around me. So as I pull this, each card's going to give me 2 prompts. One if the card is upright, one if it's reversed. What is the subject engaging in? Will not only give weight to the subject themselves, but also will create the basis for the conspiracy that will grow evident over time. Once I've drawn the Major Arcana, it goes into a new deck. So this is where the conspiracy deck starts growing, and the conspiracy deck becomes more relevant as you play and is essential for the conspiracy to grow naturally. After your first round, before choosing which deck to draw from, you must first roll a d20. If you roll a 1, you draw from the conspiracy deck rather than from the Minor Arcana decks. With each draw from the Minor Arcana, the target numbers increase by 1, slowly making the conspiracy more obvious as repeat cards are played, and making it more likely to draw from the deck. If you draw from the conspiracy deck, the target numbers increase by 2 instead. So actually, what I need to do is set up another. This is going to be our conspiracy target number. Let me bump that up a little bit so you can see it. Currently it's a 1. If we roll a 1 on that d20, that's when I draw from the conspiracy deck instead of one of the minor arcana decks. Okay, so currently, am I feeling passionate, inspired, willful, or reckless? Or am I feeling emotional, creative, disconnected, or upset? Am I feeling logical, ambitious, powerful, or angry? Or am I feeling secure, stable, looking ahead, or jealous? You know, I'm actually feeling a little ambitious in my new position here at Hawthorne Industries. Yeah, so I'm going to go with swords. I did this alphabetical so I would remember. So we have my brain. Coins, thanks. Coins, cups, swords, and wands. And let's draw. We've got the Knight of Swords. Let's go down and look at the Knight. Knight is upright, so we have action, impulsiveness, courage, and passion. Interesting. So this old fellow is actually he's on a security camera, and it appears that he is tagging. I'm not really sure where this building is. We'll figure that out as we go, but it looks like he's tagging this building for something. As he works, we'll figure it out. So this fellow is he's tagging a building with graffiti. Let's find out more. All right, so I need to shuffle the hermit back in. Actually, I realize I think all of these are upright because I have not used this card or this deck for any readings or anything, and so I've never flipped the cards. So I'm doing that now as I reshuffle. It is a pretty D20. I actually won that D20 from a giveaway on Instagram, just completely randomly one time. I guess that's how giveaways work. Oh man, I cannot think of who it was that I won it from. Although if you went on my Instagram, WH Pubs, and scrolled down, I did post about it at some point. All right, and the Knight of Swords is going to go into this new conspiracy deck, which I'm going to mark by turning it sideways. All right, so we're still in phase 1. Now, at any point, if I roll, let's see. I apologize. My throat is just super gross today. Sorry, I'm looking for a thing. They can notice you watching. Like, they might notice a... Okay, here it is. So I don't need to worry about interactions with the subject failing, so I can watch them and kind of make, I can pry or work against them. However, after each pry or work against check or pull of the cards, I have to roll a d20. And if I roll within that conspiracy deck range, so right now it's a 1, so if I rolled the 1, the subject will probably notice the camera, realize that they're being watched, that kind of situation. Let me verify. So I've created the scenario, and now we're going to interact. Now that I've observed the subject, I'm going to interact with them. My actions with the subject may be a boon or bane later on. If I work against the conspiracy, and then later on decide to help, it'll be a disadvantage because I've kind of set things up for them to fail. and I do not have to interact with them. I can move on to the next observation. However, this guy's obviously, this guy's breaking the law, and I want to know more about him. So I'm going to pry. Using pry will allow me to learn anything that I wish about the subject. I might learn, I may gain an idea of what to learn from the major and minor arcana cards pulled, such as their true identity. And the more I know about each subject and their scenario, the more I'll likely be able to hinder or help them. If I use work against instead of pry, this will allow me to start dismantling the conspiracy before I've even discovered its full scope. I hate to do this so early, but I need to run and get a lozenge real quick. I will be right back. I am back with my Ricola. Hello, Sassy Pants. Welcome in. Thank you for the raid. Good to see you all, and the raid is much appreciated. How was your game? Ricola. All right, so we are playing the Hawthorne Effect, a conspiracy and surveillance TTRPG by InnocentGoblin, who has graced us with their presence in the chat. Thank you so much. Good to see everybody. Sorry again for the early break. Let's jump back into it. We are viewing an elderly fellow who apparently is graffitiing a building. Now we're trying to figure out why or what's going on. I can either pry for more information or work against this fellow. I don't want to work against him quite yet, even though he's obviously breaking the law. I want some more information. Guys, I feel like I'm missing the how to pry or work against. There's info on what those things do, and I just feel like I'm missing it right now as I'm scrolling through. This is my fault. Oh, I instantly succeed in what I wish to do. But do I need to pull a card in order to find out? More information, like to be inspired by the card, or am I just working off of? Thanks for being here to answer these questions, Innocent Goblin. I feel like if I'm prying and I auto succeed, then I am going to try and catch this guy's face and then see if there's some kind of facial recognition to get this person's ID so I know who they are. So let's roll for this to see if they notice. So currently my target is above a 1. If I roll a 1, they become aware of my presence, watching them. Natural 20. And I did see, thanks for catching that, Raven, right as I was leaving. I did see that it is like the Mimsy Flare D20. Very cool. Thanks for finding that. All right, so natural 20, they do not notice, and they do, as they look around, this old fellow does get a really good, the camera gets a really good look on his face, or I'm searching through different camera angles that may be outside this building, and I haven't decided to look where this building is yet. I'm just trying to get a better look at this person. So this is my first roll, nat 20. He does not see me, and I do check against a database that says this guy's name is Milton Mimsy. So Milton Mimsy is his name, and so that's my pry. I have figured that out, and I need to figure out maybe where he is. So I'm going to search around the cameras to see if I can get a better look at this building, maybe ping where these places are. Let's roll again to see if he notices. That is a 3. That got pretty darn close. Hey, DM Dave, thanks for tuning in. Much love to you as well. Thanks for catching and watching on the VOD later, which it should be up, I'm hoping, by tomorrow. Make sure, actually, before you leave, before you head out, make sure you head over and follow this game's Kickstarter. The link is currently in chat. All right, so Milton Mimsy here. Let's figure out where he is. He's at number 3. He's actually at a government building. It appears to be a local police station. So let's see. He's at the Milton. However, I do realize that he's not tagging the police station itself, but the building across the alley from it. There's a small alley that leads back. It looks like maybe in the distance or like behind him or where the police cars are parked in like a gated off area. And this building next to him appears to be... Actually, let's roll for this. Let's see if there's... if it's a good day to continue spying on this fellow. With a 10, that's a yes. It looks like it's a hardware store. So the graffiti is actually on hardware store across the alley from the police station. Let's see if we can figure out what this graffiti says. Another natural 20. It doesn't appear to say anything. It's a symbol. Looking around my desk for inspiration. Okay, so this symbol, the graffiti, appears to be a strange treasure chest with a tongue. Even with my Ricola, my throat is like, what are you doing to me today? The mimic is 100% the inspiration. All right, so I don't find this mimic graffiti all that worrisome. I'm curious why this old man is out doing it. So rather than like working against them and like alerting the police or something, I'm going to continue watching. And I think with that, I'm going to kind of start looking for other examples of this graffiti, maybe, or that are around that I can follow or something. So we're going to stop observing this fellow. And check on someone else, or like go through the cameras and see if there's someone else or somewhere else that has this specific graffiti. So let's draw from our major arcana, and we're going to actually we're going to add another one. We're going to call this subject 2. Thanks for tuning in, InnocentGoblin. I hope you have a great family thing that popped up, and I will make sure you get a link to the VOD as soon as it is up. Good luck with the Kickstarter. I wish you the very best with it. I hope it is a raging success. Looking forward to it. All right, so just let me update the text here so you can see it as we investigate our next subject. All right, so temperance upright is what I pulled. Let's find out what that subject means. Temperance upright. Patience, compromise, harmony, adaptability, and peace. So as I scroll through these various cameras, I do catch what looks like maybe another example of this graffiti. While it's not immediately obvious who might have anything to do with it, there are people around, and I do notice that one of those people happens to be wearing like monk robes. The orange sash and robe, shaved head. And it appears that he is standing outside maybe a Buddhist temple. So let's see. So let's see what that guy is doing. We're going to put this back in and shuffle our major arcana. And then before I pull from the deck, I need to look and see what card I'm going to be pulling from. I also need to roll. After the first round, before choosing which deck to draw from, I must roll a d20. If I roll a 1, I need to draw from the conspiracy deck rather than the minor arcana deck. That is a 5. So I'm going to pull from a minor arcana. I am feeling I think I'm still under swords: logical, ambitious, powerful, or angry. I feel like I'm still under the logical and the ambitious. I'm still trying to like figure out what's going on with this guy and maybe impress my boss before he comes back. So let's pull the 10 of coins upright. I believe here, yep, so coins in this deck is pentacles in this rulebook, and we are at the 10 upright: legacy, inheritance, security, comfort, or tradition. That makes sense for this monk. He's hanging out. He looks like maybe he's meditating, although he's sitting on what looks like a little platform out front of the temple itself. Now, trying to figure out what this guy has to do with this here graffiti, so I'm going to keep an eye on him for a moment. I guess I will pry to get more information about his identity first. Actually, no, I'm going to pry and I'm just going to watch him for a moment. Try and figure out what he's doing. So let's roll our conspiracy target number has changed to 2. So if I roll a 2 or below, they're going to notice. Got a 16 there, so we're still good. As I zoom in, catch a good glimpse of this fella's face, run some facial recognition. His name, oh man. Finding names is always my worst weakness with TTRPGs, just so you know. I'm naming him after the wild sigil glyph that just escaped or has appeared in chat for a Pokemon community game. And Sigilif has a registered driver's license out of this state. Name generators are handy. I need to just open one up here. Let's do that. FantasyNameGenerator.com. All right, so that doesn't really help me with this here conspiracy. Let's keep looking, aiming for a 2 or for a 3 or above. That is way cocked. Another 6. So keeping an eye on him. I do notice that every so often he does open his eyes and look over, like he's keeping his eye out for something. So though he's meditating, he seems to be watching for something. Due to his presence there, I feel like he's watching for something that's going to happen soon. So let's keep watching. Does a It essentially does something happen. Let's roll for watching for a little bit longer as a pry with an 11. And I feel like something does happen. So we're going to do it this way. A woman walks by and marks the graffiti with a single like hatch mark in chalk. When she does so, the monk goes into the temple. Okay, so now I'm curious about this woman. We're going to switch to subject 3 and figure out who she is. Why did she just mark this? It'd be nice if it carried format across. Ah, wow. All right, so going to draw another major arcana to determine who this person is. We've got the star upright. Which is hope, faith, optimism, inspiration, and self-confidence. So this woman from subject 2 appears to be how do I want to determine this? So let's do the woman from subject 2 has dark hair, is wearing overcoat is the word I'm looking for. Overcoat. So let's call it a long overcoat. And darkened glasses. All right, so I'm going to continue to follow her for a moment here. However, I need to pull my minor arcana, and before I do that, I have to roll to see if I draw from the conspiracy or one of the other decks. Flip these around. Yeah, it's weird how the formatting will carry over for some things in one note, but not for others. And then I have to go in. I didn't know how many subjects I'd get through, so I made one to begin with. I should have made more so I could sped this up. Good to know for future use. Then rolled a 10, so I'm going to pull from a minor arcana deck rather than the conspiracy deck. And I feel like this woman's is making me feel a little upset. So I'm going to pull from cups this time. So we have coins, cups. I just realized I pulled from the wrong deck earlier, but that's okay. We've got 9 of coins. Upright. Luxury, financial gain, earned rewards, and security. So this kind of determines the situation. As the woman marks the graffiti, she turns down the alley and disappears into a door which is being watched by a bouncer. It is obvious from the camera angle I have, it is blatant that there is something going on inside, that there are several people in very fine clothing. Maybe there's flashing lights. Something's going on in there. And they appear to... Here's something that has something to do with people that have a good deal of money, maybe. That's a good point, Raven. We never determined what time of day it is. Let's do that for our pry. Pardon me while I rearrange the cards here a little bit, since I have been drawing everything upright. I just want to make sure I have everything shuffled in a way that maybe we'll actually get some reversed things. I was super excited to find out this was a tarot-based game. I have several, and I've never gotten to play any of them yet. So this is a super fun experience getting to try this out. I am really excited to see what Innocent Goblin's end rules end up being. The playtest is definitely helpful as far as kind of giving you a guidance as to where to go for your creativity with it, but having some like more set archetypes, which is the goal, I think will help a lot of people with storytelling. All right, so we're gonna pry. I'm gonna throw that on the ground, and our conspiracy target is slowly increasing. We're at a 3 now. I got a 6. All right, so though that roll was close, it still succeeds. They don't notice. It is it's actually late afternoon, so yeah, this is weird that these people are all maybe at a party or something, appears to be. So let's see, it's we're We're going to call it 3 p.m. on a Tuesday. Aging ravers, that's right. People who work... It's for people who work weekends, actually. Or work overnights. So let's see. Let's do another pry. Now this is... I think this is an interesting aspect of the game, because the cameras don't all have to be like security cameras. We can get into something like... Let's see if this succeeds or not. So we're going for 4 or above. Oh, I got a 3. So, what happens if you fail is they notice. Let me go back and just double check this. But essentially, as I'm going through these cameras that I have, I try to access somebody's cell phone that's inside. Maybe it's her cell phone or something. I'm pinging cameras that are in there, and I turn on their camera, and maybe they're like looking at their camera when it happens, and so, or they're looking at their phone when it happens and they see their camera turn on, something like that. So let's just verify. We're observing, we're interacting, prying. Okay, so I roll a d20. If your roll is in the target range for the conspiracy deck, they can become suspicious and aware of being observed. Draw a major arcana card and shuffle it into the conspiracy deck. After this, you may choose to continue acting with the subject or start a new observation. Okay, so I'm just going to draw this card. I'm going to place it over here. And you know what? I'm going to shuffle this. Yeah, draw it and shuffle it into the major, or the conspiracy deck. So now we're at 4. For our target, so our chances of being found out are even greater. As I turn this on, I see this woman's face. She's taking her sunglasses off. I'm going to run facial recognition on it, and her name is Deb. Her name's Deborah Harry. Yep. It might be the lead singer of Blondie who has dyed her hair. Who knows? We're going to say Deb Harry notices when I activate our camera on our phone. Starting to become suspicious. However, I can still watch her. There are points where if your conspiracy deck hits a certain number of cards, or if you draw the tower, etc., then the observation phase ends instantly, and I move on to phase 2. So I have not, you can also choose to move out of this phase and into phase 2 at any point. I just don't feel like maybe I've quite gotten enough info yet. So I'm going to stop watching on her phone, and I'm going to move over to another phone and see if I can catch what's going on. However, I'm going to call this shifting a subject. So we're going to go on to subject 4 here. Because there's no guarantee that turning on that other camera is going to actually catch Deb Harry there. And let's grab our conspiracy target number. And draw to find out who this person is. Alright, so drawing from Major Arcana. Still upright. And we got the world again. Actually, no, I guess I didn't draw the world before. Maybe I did. Let's find out. We'll read it. Fulfillment, harmony, completion, attainment, and success. Yeah, I believe that this is... I did draw this earlier. So that means that monk walks in. It's not the monk's phone that I turned on. I can't tell whose phone that is, but somebody's phone turns on. I'm looking for that woman, Deb Harry. However, the monk walks in again. So into the event, we're just going to call it the event. We don't know what it is yet. The monk walks in. Now we're going to pull to see what he's doing. And we're going to... I believe I just keep shuffling these back in, even if I've drawn them again. So we're going to put the monk back into what I should be doing. And this will be my recommendation to those of you who are playing this in the future. I should be marking down in my notes what the card is. Because you can pull it multiple times, as we just discovered. So there we go. Let's do a quick... world upright. And then we're going to roll to see what deck we pull from. That is a 3. All right, so that changes things. I end up pulling from the conspiracy deck. After your first round, before choosing which deck to draw from, you must first roll a d20. If you roll a 1, you draw from the conspiracy deck rather than one of the minor arcana decks. With each draw from the minor arcana, the target number is increased by 1. Oh geez, I've been missing some increases. And because I pulled from the conspiracy deck, it's going to go up by 2. So let's try and update this real quick. This is going to go up to 6 because I just drew from the conspiracy deck. Oh man, this is what I get for missing the rule. We had 1, 2, 3 pulls from here. So that's going to bring it to 9. Eee. From here we had 1, 2, 3, 4. That's going to bring it to 13. We might be ending near the end of this because I believe when you hit 20, your observation ends automatically. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pulled 5 from there. We are at an 18. That changes everything dramatically. I am starting to feel stressed, so as I pull this next card, or no, I don't pull this next card, I draw from the conspiracy deck. Going with Knight of Swords, upright. That was the one that I pulled earlier to put in there when I failed my roll. Hello, Miko. Thanks for tuning in. How's it going? So this is the character that we saw earlier. I don't recall which. Action, impulsiveness, courage, and passion. Oh, this is the one that I thought was a, when I pulled it, I think I looked at the wrong thing. Let me check. No. Yeah, so this is where it really becomes important to be marking what you pulled for each character. However, this is essentially figuring out the situation less than who it is. So with that in mind, with this being the Knight of Swords and using action, impulsiveness, courage, and passion. So just to be silly, because let's be honest, this channel's about being silly a lot of the times. The monk walks over and he sits down at a table. It's very hard to see for a moment there, but it appears to be a gaming table. There appear to be so the monk sits at a table with several other people. Where it appears there's some kind of game going on. Let's pry a little bit to see whether or not we can see what kind of game this is. And I'm going to shuffle this here. Thanks for appreciating the silliness. We're going to shuffle the conspiracy deck because if I have to draw from it again, I want to make sure I'm just not drawing the same card. All right, so we're going to pry. We need to roll under an 18 to not be noticed. I'm feeling very concerned about this. I am shocked. I am absolutely shocked there. So again, the person holding the cell phone that I turn on in order to see what's going on, they notice. They start like turning it, looking at it, pushing buttons. I have lost my place in the file. Sorry, hang on one moment. Okay, so because I failed, I'm going to draw from the Major Arcana deck and shuffle it into Conspiracy deck. Doop. Okay. So even though it does, solo play is about having fun even if you break the rules, no one usually notices. Exactly. At least no one who's going to call you out on it. Unless you're streaming it. And then it happens. Now, I do have a question, and I'm sure that Innocent Goblin will will bring this to light, or update the text. When you are forced to draw a card, in this case, when I failed this and I had to draw the major arcana to put in the conspiracy deck, does that increase your conspiracy target? Because when you're pulling those cards for your draws, it does. So a good question for Innocent Goblin. However, despite being noticed before the person reboots their camera or like turns off their phone, maybe I hear them say, and they turn it off. I do notice that there are dice and small miniatures of fantasy creatures on the table. And then the phone goes off. So subject 4, gone. So it means I have to move on to another conspiracy target, or sorry, another subject. So under the when to move on section of this for the observation phase, it says once conspiracy deck reaches 20. So that's the conspiracy deck, not the number. But I feel like maybe it meant number because you're not counting your conspiracy cards. You're counting your, so I need to point that out to Innocent Goblin. We're going to assume it means the number and not the deck itself. Once it reaches 20, the observation phase ends automatically as the conspiracy becomes so big it's near completion. However, feel free to move on to the investigation phase once you choose, once you can see the shape of the conspiracy within your notes. I feel like trying to catch an image of another person is going to push me to reach 20 anyway, since I'm sitting at 18. I feel like I know what's going on as the observer. So we're going to head over to the investigation and end phase 1. So phase 2, the investigation, uncovering the conspiracy. Once you've reached phase 2, the notes you've made become an invaluable resource for understanding the conspiracy you've been observing. Go through your notes, try to piece together the disparate pieces of information, find the themes that connect, and discover the shape of the conspiracy. You may already have an idea of the conspiracy after your various observations, but rereading your notes may help you to make connections that you may not have considered beforehand. So first of all, who's involved? We've been prying on subjects. We obviously know. I don't think... no, I did get everyone's names. So I got the monk, and the monk is Sigillif. We have this fellow Milton Mimsy, and we have Deborah Harry, or Deb Harry, who's probably dyed her hair and is incognito because being such a star of the 80s rock scene, she didn't want anyone to notice her. And so it looks like they're all gathering in some kind of gaming house. Now, having watched, I'm not really sure that there's anything untoward going here other than graffitiing. I personally, you know what, my boss isn't back yet. I'm not seeing the problem in that. And so let's see, we as an aside, it does make note of assumptions and inferring. Don't feel like you're stuck with just what you have in front of you. Even the best detectives require a leap of logic every now and then. If you're struggling to shape a conspiracy out of what you're seeing, don't be afraid to add some assumptions on top of what you have. The final piece of this puzzle is important. What does the Institute want? So the person or the company I am working for, what do they want with the information? Why have I been asked to observe these subjects? Is the Institute part of the conspiracy? Are they using dubious means to learn information in order to fight them? I think the conspiracy is them. Or maybe the subjects are using their information to fight the Institute and the whole Big Brother watching thing, which is, to be honest, a little creepy. Or are they neutral, just a dystopian organization surveilling random people, and I just happened to stumble upon this? Most importantly, if I make a stand, am I standing against the Institute? So, I will say, scrolling back up here, talks a little bit about the Hawthorne Institute. The Hawthorne Institute thanks you for your cooperation. The Hawthorne Institute thanks you for your productivity. The Hawthorne Institute thanks you for your loyalty. I really love the wording, the repetition, and the way that it like infers that the Hawthorne Institute has my cooperation, my productivity, and my loyalty as an employee. I think that's super devious and really creepy. So this is my first day. I'm getting a feeling that I'm watching these folks maybe just kick back and have a good time. I feel like maybe I don't really care that they're doing that, and so I want to maybe help cover this up. So we're going to go to phase 3, which is the conspiracy, help or hinder. Now that I have the conspiracy laid out in front of me, it's time to make a stand. Will I fight the conspirators and whatever machinations they scheme, or will I join them, determining their goals to be a worthy cause? What will I decide, and how will I choose, what you decide to do and how you choose to do it will depend on the ending scenario. Additionally, considering your past actions, having pried into conspirators will make it easier to make a stand with or against them, but the more I've worked against them will make it more difficult to join them. So I didn't do any working against. Mostly I was trying to figure out what was going on first, and then I really pretty much hit that end point. So I'm going to I think I would try and help them. However, to determine the ending and how the Institute deals with it if they find out about it, you do some math here and figure out. So the ending you achieve is based on the conspiracy deck as well as the ways you interacted with the subjects during the observation phase. To start, look through the conspiracy deck and add up each of the card values. Page, Knight, Queen, and King are worth 10 points. Additionally, any major arcana cards in the deck are worth -2 points, except for the Tower, which is worth -20 points. Once you've counted your final point, then you check that number against the ending scenario table. So let's find out. So we've got a Knight, so that's 10 points. We're going to mark this on the screen. Ending points. So we're at 10. We've got the Wheel, which is a major arcana -2, so that's 8. We've got Judgment, major arcana, which is -2. We've got the 10 of Cups, which adds 10. And we've got the 9 of Coins, which adds 9. So we're at 25. Oh, sorry. So because I've deemed to help the conspiracy, I need to choose whether I want to join the conspiracy or help them from afar. You know what? I feel like they're having fun. It looks like something I want to go do after hours. I'm going to join the conspiracy. So I got a 25 on the join the conspiracy table. You take a stand with the conspirators, openly joining them in a cause. You gain +2 for each pry, but -1 for each work against. All right, so we got to go back and count. Again, this is where we keep track of what we do throughout the game. I should have done that, but I can kind of count it this way. So we've got 1 pry, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. All right, so we're going to add 14 to get 39. Join the conspiracy. 31 to 70. You make your stand and it goes well. The conspiracy takes place and achieves its goals through, though there are a few downsides to the plan or compromises they have to make. What aspect of the plan led to these compromises? What does success look like with them? All right, since this is my first day and I'm really bad at conspiracies and covering things up, and maybe I should have been a little more careful of this. When I get off work today, I just head on over and I look for the various mimic graffiti and just follow it until I notice there's little arrows that are kind of built into the graffiti to point to get to this essentially TTRPG speakeasy. And when I get there, the bouncer is I don't have any kind of proof that I know, there's no invitation there. They don't know me, and so I'm just look, I was watching you on camera earlier, and I know what's going on in here, so if you could let me in, that'd be great. And so they realize that their TTRPG speakeasy does sound awesome. I feel like this should be a thing. So they realize that their security is lax, not in necessarily what they're doing physically, but obviously there are ways that they need to block if they're trying to protect their clientele or something. So the downside for them is they need to work a little harder, and they might even need to move where this is. But the TTRPG Speakeasy does end up being a bunch of fun. Actually, you know what? I'm going to roll my yes, no, maybe to see if my character survives that night. Maybe. That's a solid maybe. So I think this is a really fun concept, especially for it's a solo TTRPG. You play by yourself, but there are duo rules. The duo rules are not in the playtest that I have, or if they are, I completely missed reading them because I was I'm not playing this with anyone else. But the concept that it will be something you can play with someone else is also very cool. I definitely recommend checking out the Kickstarter for it. It's going to be going live, I believe, this coming week. It says coming soon on the Kickstarter itself, but I did see InnocentGoblin post something. I feel like it's coming out next week. So soon for Zine Month. Definitely go check that out. What are your thoughts as you've watched through this? Anyone, if you're watching live, feel free to throw your comments, feedback in the chat. I'll read it off so that the other viewers on YouTube or InnocentGoblin can learn from your feedback. Also, head over and follow InnocentGoblin here on Twitch. Their link is there in chat, and I'm going to throw up their Bluesky real quick, just so that you can also follow over there, and you could drop them a message, ask about it. There you go. Miko says, it's so cute that I believe that he has thoughts. Oh, Miko. I wasn't including you in that state. No, I'm just kidding. Of course I think you have thoughts. It's a very interesting game. Stacy UK says, be interesting to see if there are any resources to help me keep track or help the player keep track. Very true. A lot of it was me trying to remember the things I should keep track of. And so having a card, PDF that you can fill out, form fillable options for all of these different things. You have to track how many prize you did, how many work against you did, how many of the minor arcana you drew, how many, all of those things would definitely help out. I think for this instance, because I wrote everything down in kind of a manner where I knew where the breaks were, I was able to go back and count it. But knowing knowing that I would have to add all this up at the end, I should have made note of that to begin with on the sheet so that I would remember. So it's definitely something that, especially for someone like me, out of sight, out of mind, where it would help a lot to have that kind of card that says, track this here. Very good suggestion, Stacy. Thank you. Raven says, no questions, very interesting concept and looking forward to it. Thanks, Raven. I appreciate everyone tuning in today. We're going to rate out at the end of this. Yeah, especially if you play over several sessions, definitely understandable. Keeping track of things is going to get confusing. Tune in on Thursday night starting this week. It was supposed to start this previous week, but I ended up having to work. And so this coming week is going to be the start of Solo Sagas, where I'm going to show off more solo TTRPGs. That's actually just coincidence. It has nothing to do with this solo TTRPG, but who knows? This one might show up again in the future when it's finalized and all of the rules are set. This coming week, we are going to start showing off Vagabond, which is going to probably end up being a several session thing. Again, Stacy, tracking things over several sessions, absolutely, because Vagabond essentially lets you play. It's setting agnostic, and it's its own system, but it is compatible with some of the older D&D stuff and all that. That is something I'll kind of be finding out as I go, as I am going to end up playing through. It's in reach. This old D&D module, Night of the Walking Dead. As I kind of go back to some of the earlier games that I played in my youth. So that's going to be fun. We're going to make the main character on Thursday and kind of dive into it. I do already have some of the NPCs that are going to be part of the party that join my main character, whoever that ends up being. So it'll be a little bit truncated as far as we're not going to make everything together. Solo definitely feels like it's getting bigger. Absolutely. I did notice Modifius just put out a solo option for the Fallout game, which is super exciting. We've been watching Fallout, and it is, yes, you interact with other characters, but you leave those characters so often, as the main characters of the game leave each other so often, that it makes a lot of sense as solo TTRPG. It's very cool. The gaming story I had a copy of that. It was snatched up. Oh, nice. Yeah, it's an old one, that Ravenloft module. Back when they used paper to print things and you couldn't buy them on your computer because there weren't computers. And we ran with the dinosaurs. Yep. So if you want to, please head over and follow our YouTube channel. Trying to get all of our follows over there would be amazing. And there's a whole bunch of videos to go and watch. Older actual plays of many different systems that we've showcased. And everything that I do here will go up on there in the future as well. So That's right. There is a Curseborn coming up for Curseborn. Super excited for that. Curseborn is a fun game, generally speaking, and it's going to be super awesome to check out as a solo game. Let's, you know what? We're going to raid over to Lord Gasumba. As soon as I figure out how to spell his name correctly. Nope, I spelled it wrong. Thanks, Stacy. It's great to be back. It's nice to have the chance to come back and do something on the channel. I'm really hoping that work does not get in the way of Solo Sagas. I was trying to schedule it in a way that I was like, this won't get in the way of anything. And yet last week it happened. So thanks so much for everybody for tuning in. Make sure you go follow the Hawthorne Effects Kickstarter. Support it when it goes live. And we will see you next time. Have a good day.